Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 263 of Navigating Now. This is a special episode called the Hot Take Series. And what we do is we have the opportunity and the platform to discuss topics in leadership and in life that we don't often get a chance to talk about, but we're going to do it right here, right now. I'm joined by Tess Kelly, who is a consultant here at Thaudium. If you all don't know me, my name is Azmin Goa. I'm a consultant here at Thaudium as well. Tess, welcome to the hot seat. How are you coming in?
Energized, I would say. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. I mean, it's not very different from a lot of the conversations we normally get to have, but it's exciting to have it live and on a platform.
Yes, I agree. I actually just reflected on the fact that me and you have been working together on projects for a little over a year, but we've actually never been facilitated together. We're not on stage together. So this is our first time doing that. And then we're going to do it again next Tuesday. So this is kind of like our pilot, which is awesome.
That is true.
So I'm very happy to be in this conversation with you. Tess, our hot takes. Let me start by kind of just grounding on some of the work that me and you have been doing. So if anyone's been tuning into Thaudium's LinkedIn or mine and Tess's, you'll notice that there's a lot on there right now about the healthcare sector and the work that we're doing with healthcare. Specifically, in the state of Texas, we are equipping healthcare workers with some of the soft skills that they need, and we're focusing mostly on resilience. So that kind of does lead us into our first hot take of the day. So do you think I should hit it off?
Why don't you kick us off, Azmin?
I'm going to do it. So our first hot take is about that term, soft skills, and I'm going to just air quote it for now. We think that the term soft skills absolutely needs a rebrand. And let me tell you why. Soft skills such as empathy, influence, agility, how many more tests, storytelling.
Yeah.
We can name a gazillion. All of these soft skills, you call them soft, but they're actually some of the hardest skills that we use on a day-to-day basis. And they're even harder in times of pressure, in times of change, which we know right now is constant. And I have a little bit of history actually on the term soft skills that Tess actually shared with me. So the term soft skills was actually coined in the 1960s by the US military. And back then it was simple. It was just delineating the type of work that you did. So hard meant that you were working strictly with machines, and soft meant that you were working strictly with people. Like, it was basic, it worked. But then what happened is when that term came into the business world, things got a little bit muddy. Now, hard tends to mean strategic. You have rigor, you have intelligence, you have high impact, you're impacting the ROI. But then when you talk about soft skills, they're talked about in a way where it's like, it's innate. You either have it or you don't. It's optional. It's seen as too emotional sometimes. So even if someone's like, oh, I'm taking this soft skills training, you kind of have a perception of them. And so we're here trying to just change all of that. And I'm going to do that by sharing a little bit of data with you all. So the Harvard Business Review actually states that the top skill that leaders should have in today's world is emotional intelligence. It's not strategy. It's not, how to navigate, AI literacy or any of that. It's literally emotional intelligence. It's communication. It's self-awareness. It's resilience. So when you think about, as a leader, what are the skills that you really need to have, the hardest skills that you need to have to be a leader in today's world, it's actually these soft skills. And another fun fact I got to share with the audience today is that 57% of people actually leave their jobs because of their leader, because their leader actually lacks empathy. They lack, creating a trusting environment. They lack psychological safety. So it's so fascinating that, people are attracted to and leave corporations because of soft skills. So should we actually be calling them soft skills if they're actually this hard is the question.
No. So what should we rebrand them to?
I have a couple ideas. I know at Thaudium, we say that we design and deliver human-centered experiences that inspire growth. So I'm gonna go for human-centered. I feel like that's a good term. What about you? What are you thinking?
We've used universal skills before, and I really like that. Or core skills. I like core skills too.
Core skills.
Or in many ways, they're foundational skills.
I was gonna say I love foundational because it's like you can't do anything beyond what's already laid out for you? What is that foundation that you're actually growing on? Okay, I love it. So that, folks, is my hot take for today. And I am going to now pass it over to Tess, who's going to take us through our second hot take, which has to do with some soft skills that we mentioned. So I'll pass it over to you, Tess.
Hot take number 2. This one we get a little bit more maybe heated about. There is a serious gap in development opportunities for healthcare professionals, and we've been seeing this throughout all of our conversations that we've been having and all of our interactions with hospital leaders and hospital staff, mostly across Texas, but then across our networks as we've been expanding programs and access to these programs. And justifiably, we've been focused on competency and technical training with healthcare teams because they need to be able to save people's lives. But they have had little to no training on managing people's emotions or engaging with people effectively. And these are people that are in roles that are required to do that more than arguably any other profession that we work with. And what's crazy is our corporate clients are prioritizing these skills heavily. And like we talked about this the other day, my MBA program had multiple courses in our core curriculum focused on developing soft skills. But then we have people in human-centered roles that are not being equipped with the skills that they need to be successful. Mm-hmm. And so we've had a lot of conversations around this because I'm really passionate about it, because I began my career in nursing, and I know that the emotional workload of being a care provider is just so demanding. And if you can't manage it well, it actually places a significant burden on your ability to perform in your technical tasks. And so building soft skills, or our core skills or foundational skills, is actually one of the key ways that we can lighten that load. And it allows us to operate better and at a higher level in our technical work. Mm-hmm. We talked about this the other day, but one of the good examples I have of this is I used to work with patients that had recently suffered from brain injuries. So not only was I managing their medical care, but managing emotions was a big part of my day. Mm-hmm. And not just their emotions, but oftentimes their families and oftentimes my own. So I think about this a lot when we're designing these sessions for our healthcare teams, and especially as we've been doing some of our resiliency work with our healthcare teams, because there were so many times that I was preparing to walk into a room of a patient that I knew was easily agitated, and I'm just bracing myself for what that's going to be like, or getting ready to have a conversation with somebody that needed to be de-escalated. And I had the technical skills. I would say arguably some of the best technical training in the world, and I felt very competent, but I needed the soft skills. Mm-hmm. I needed the self-awareness to know what my emotional state was in those moments, what my physical state was. I needed to be able to self-regulate, go ahead of those moments. And I also needed to be able to self-regulate while I was in those moments. And I needed to be able to do all of that before I could tap into my technical skills so that I could make sound and clear decisions over their medical care. Yeah. And self-awareness and the self-regulation are some of the things that we're doing with some of our healthcare providers when we're working on resilience. And these are skills that, just like any other skills and tools, need dedicated and structured time for development. Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I love the story behind why behind the work that you are so passionate about doing here at Thaudium and doing in the healthcare space. So thank you for sharing that, Tess. And I think oftentimes when we're in this program space, we talk about these skills as being muscles, right? You can build them. So you're not just, these aren't innate, it's not like you're born with them or not born with them. You can train these skills over time. You can work on them. And that's what this program is all about, right? Equipping folks with the tools where they can practice, and also providing that safe space for them in session to practice with each other, talk about what's hard, and talk about what's worked for them as well. Because I think we all have our own coping strategies and ways that we kind of move through difficult moments. So that's, I think, one of my favorite parts of our programming is just hearing folks share, like, hey, I do this after I leave a patient's room, or this is something that I've used that works. And I think that's such a cool learning moment too, to just see them all in person, interact, and actually get the moment to just share that, hey, this is a muscle that I'm building and this is how it's working for me.
Yeah. Not just build the resilience of the individuals, but the collective by sharing their knowledge.
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, elaborating on your muscle analogy, we talk about it a lot because we're asking these healthcare workers to flex these muscles or use these muscles all day, but we're not adequately training them on how to use them. And we're also not teaching them how to build them up or strengthen them. And so I guess what happens when you're not strengthening muscles adequately and you're using them all the time? Fatigue.
Get injured. Yeah.
You get injured. And so one of the things that we equate that to in the real world is actually burnout is one of the major downstream effects of not having a resilient healthcare team. And not only is it really expensive for hospitals, but when hospital organizations, but it's really dangerous. And I have a couple fun stats to share, but
you love stats. Go ahead.
Yes, a study in 2024 in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health estimated that 67% of providers are burnt out. Physicians are 15-fold more likely to be burnt out. And if you think about that, just one that's 2/3 of our healthcare workforce is entering their shift burnt out.
Wow.
So the downstream effects of that are so dangerous. And the World Health Organization also did some studies on this and wanted to look at what are the impacts beyond the obvious. And so in 2021, they published a study that went through exactly that. And so we know that it impacts the individual. We know it impacts retention. We know it impacts employee engagement. It's even kind of obvious that it would impact customer or patient satisfaction. We also learned from the World Health Organization study is that it impacts infection rates, increases medical errors, increases hospital readmission rates. We're even seeing higher rates of mortality. And so this is so much bigger than something that we can, so much bigger than what we're actually, than just like a soft skill, than something that's just optional or innate. Mm-hmm. And it'd be so easy to hear these types of problems say like, oh, well, let's just throw more technical training at these teams.
Right.
In reality, we need to pour into more resources into supporting their resilience.
Yeah.
So, Azmin, I'd love to bring it a little bit back to the individuals and kind of the work that we've been doing. Because over the last year or so, when we've been working with these teams and the healthcare leaders that are actively trying to address this, we've gotten to be in the room with them and working with them. And through two of the programs that you actually led the design of. So do you want to share a little bit about the design and some of the that we've seen so far?
Sure, I'd love to. So that we've designed two programs to really kind of help folks build resilience in two different ways. One program is called Purpose in Practice. And in this program, we really help folks tap back into, why did I enter healthcare in the first place, right? So we dig into their values, their purpose, but what happens when things get stressful? You forget why you're doing what you're doing. And so we actually end that whole program on resilience, because the times that you need to tap into your purpose and values the most are when times are stressful, when things are under pressure. And so we actually end that workshop with some cool resilience tips and tools that folks can kind of bring with them to help remind them why they're doing what they're doing. So that's program one. Program two is called Situational Intelligence. Here we're covering the core skills of empathy, resilience, and agility. Same thing, right? When you're in these environments, you're so focused on the technical task of what you need to do. This allows you to do that, but with a level of agility, with a level of empathy. So we're kind of allowing them to see what is it like if I do my day-to-day tasks, but do it with empathy. And we teach them tools like effective listening and others to kind of help them practice. So a couple of things that have come out from our sessions. So we have our end of experience survey just to see, how is the experience? How did it resonate with folks? And, one core stat that came out was 91% of attendees said that because they attended the session, they feel like they're able to respond to stress with more intention. And 96% of participants also said that they feel like because of the session, they're able to communicate with each other, patients, and families in a more intentional way too. So it's kind of cool to see these early results and kind of see the impact that we're having. And as you know, I love to tinker. So as the design and as the deliveries keep going, and as we learn more about what these folks need, we are iterating and changing while also, just staying stable on our foundation, which is this is a core skill, it's resilience. And how can we better equip this and fill this gap, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So I will cap us off with one last question. And what I love about your experience, Tess, especially, is you do have that nursing background. You are here at Thaudium and you get to teach these skills as well. And you're also a mother. And so there's so many ways in which you can bring these soft skills into your life. So, and I shouldn't call them that anymore. I should call them foundational skills or core skills. One question, my last question to you is, how do you think these core skills have changed you as a person?
I think the better answer is like the shorter answer is like how have they not? And
Yeah.
there's an area of my life that they haven't touched. I think I'm a better friend, a better partner. I'm more curious through challenges. I'm more compassionate, but firm maybe in my own boundaries. I think it's changed me as a parent. I would say I can pause before responding most of the time. Yeah. To self-regulate ahead of helping my kids regulate, which I have an 10-month-old and an 8-year-old. And so, as you can imagine, that's coming up a lot for me. And so what about you?
Thanks for sharing that, Tess. I think I resonate with a lot of what you said as well. Specifically, it's just that idea of being able to pause. I think, me tapping into these skills more now with the work that we do at Thaudium, I feel like I'm able to really just pause and be like, am I being empathetic? Is this what this group needs? Is this what I need right now? So I feel like it's allowed me to be a little bit more compassionate, first towards myself and then towards others. So it is, what I love about these skills too is that it's never ending, right? It's not something that it's like, cool, I've checked the box, I know how to be empathetic. I don't think that's the case with these skills. I think you can continue to learn them throughout your lives. And so that's what I love about it, is that muscle analogy, is that it's never ending and you can always practice, and that's kind of what makes you better over time. It's not a one and done thing. The workshops, the books, everything will absolutely help you, but it's all about how are you practicing these things in real life too. All right, Tess, any closing thoughts before we close for today?
I think my biggest closing thought was, if there are people listening that are in the healthcare space or that have connections in the healthcare space that they think might be interested, we obviously love to talk about this and we would love to talk more about this and get in touch. So please reach out and connect with Azmin or I. We have lots more to say and share, and we'd love to hear more about what those teams are going through.
Awesome. Love it. Well, thank you all for tuning in to episode 263 of Navigating Now. You can find this and all of our episodes at thaudium.com/